Tangaroto, Lotarje, Zoshin, Kondo, Dashi to be some years.
So now it is the time for us, for our every year, the retreat, starting with the Ngwanto, that the retreat for 1 month practice. So this, it is known as like a 1 month retreat, which means that starting Ngwanto practices and teachings and so forth, that which we try to complete everything within a month. So this retreat has been a very specific tradition in the Palyul lineage and Palyul practice, that which has been started about 400 years before, without breaking its lineage and transmission. So within this period of 1 month, that where it goes through the whole complete teaching, instruction, and sense of experiencing about the practice, not necessarily that you have completed Ngwanto or other practice, and that is why the instruction goes through every detail about refuge, bodhicitta, and so forth.
Ngwanto Tabatang Gendambayana, Ngwanto Mato Pardo, Tabat human or regular matters.
So, like in our monastery, those monks, until they finish the Ngwanto accumulation, till to that they are even not considered as the actual monks of the temple.
Ngwanto Tone, Chu Kare now, but
So, as one received the Ngwanto teachings, then from that onward, it is the just a sense of permission that oneself engage into these Dharma practices. So here also, we are having this 1 month retreat where we try to mainly concentrate on the Ngwanto, try to just go through the complete teaching. So through that, we having a actual beginning of our Dharma practices, and also that we get trained how to do all these Ngwanto preliminary practices. So after receiving this Ngwanto teaching, then of course in the future you have to continue to practice, and not only that, if you have just time, then that oneself having a actual Dhamma practice, that which one can continuously do it. So as we are wandering within these 3 cycles of the samsaric life, where there is so much of suffering as we know and as we experience, so to liberate out of such kind of suffering, then it is the only way through the Dharma practice, Other than that, whatsoever worldly fame and so forth we may gain, not necessarily it will really benefit us. So among all the Dharma teachings, that which is most highest and direct is the Dzogchen, which is the great perfection, and such kind of teaching instructions are not necessarily it is just easy to receive. It is very rare. So having this opportunity, one should to take advantage.
Tibaramba gusere, Tibaramba jepo menchele, Dratanya madravati, Tupachim chudere.
So within the Nyingma tradition, there is the 9 yanas or the 9 vehicles in which that the Dzogchen or the Adi Yoga teachings are not even slightest of its meaning are taught within the, just below the 8 yanas.
Yenda Sanjiji, Lord Home Batile, Namne Sheni, Tar Mbagindea, Sonjiji Drugurus.
So according to general Dharma practice like Sutrayana, that where one need to engage into Dharma practices like countless lifetimes, and through that one could have the liberation. So within the Dzogchen also there are certain levels or categories, but somehow who is the highest level of mind and who is really capable about to understand the path of liberation, then where there is the possibility of having that liberation within one lifetime. So in case even we receive the Dzogchen teachings, but if we don't engage into the practice, of course, then the enlightenment or liberation is not necessarily achieved, but at least we receive that blessing. So right now that where we have been going through the retreat time about the Ngwendo, the 4 foundation practices, and then the Tsalung, and then the Dzogchen Tegel teachings, these all teachings are of course from the Dzogchen, that which is directly transmitted from the Dharmakaya Buddha Samen Batra. So there is no any question about that whether there is the blessing or the power of all such kind of Dharma teachings. So, but still, if one could not engage into practice properly or in a sense, with the continuity, then of course one cannot have that result. As for example, even we have food, a delicious food in front of us, but if we don't eat it, then we could not get rid of the hunger. So it is similar like that, important to engage into the practice. Other examples that instance, if one have a wish fulfilling gem and then we put it under the pillow and then just sleep on it, but we never do, any kind of prayer, then of course we never get any kind of benefit or doesn't fulfill wishes. It is just merely a stone.
Johnson and Norbu land you took Captain Ale, Coron Sumpan, Tiro, Coron Trouble Coni, Johnson and Norbu land, Pema, the Shibuya, Chavares.
So a long time back in India, that people, they used to go to ocean, the merchants, to find wish-fulfilling gems, and then there one with the friend, they went and then they found it, and they have been just lived for happily. So both these two persons that they lived in different places, and because of the blessing of that wish-fulfilling gem, they have a very good life and very prosperous in their place.
And they go to Kisumares, they said the Norbu Yore, the Norbu Peshe Mahine, they Tombo Chavares.
So then after some time, that one that merchant just passed away, but still that not understanding or not knowing that having the wishful fulfilling gem, and then just the family become like poor.
Then Tombo Charlie, Yolumba Bombole, Somo Sonduvares.
So then that family become very poor, and then they went to many places just begging for foods.
Then go to Sumban, the trouble, the Gohane, go to the Varas.
And then they just finally got to that their father's friend and that merchant house.
They can walk in. I carried it to the church, you get in Nobu, carried it. Madam Sumban Tronson. Nobody commented, Joseph said so. Then Manon known the good years, what didn't care.
So then that merchant that said, "Oh, why you all just begging? Just your father has that wish-fulfilling gem." And so then they said, just the merchant passed away, and then all the wealth, everything got exhausted, so we become very poor. So that is why we are just, begging around.
Take it, man, it's a lot of then go can dog go into the mother,
So then the merchant asked the family that now what things left in your house. So they said, we didn't have anything else, just like a piece of stone under the just pillow.
Toronto don't go marry Pandose, they could patches and one and the
So then he told them that you don't have to just beg, you just go back to home, and then told that this is the that the piece of stone is actually that it is the wish fulfilling gem.
Do the part true so much that come on Yashupo Chavares.
So then, as with the merchant and family went back, and then they just clean up the stone and do all sorts of ceremony for purification, and then according to that they did the aspiration prayers, and through which then they got everything, and then again they become just rich as before.
Naruto, Romoso to Jilla, Nanchinji Sanji and Tanji.
So similar like that, we within ourselves we have all the qualities of the enlightened mind. But then we are just being so much conceptualized with the dualistic thoughts, and then being just attached to all this worldly activity, and through which that we get obscured, and we could not experience or realize our own pure nature.
대인데 상제지 남신지 연대데 라노서도 질러 열에마도 신이 체는 그 말이데 얘는 탈락해 봐 라마라서 봐 때네 롱기 레드 단이 바로 답하시네 되는 남신지 얘기도 들은 것도 적으로 왔어.
That all the enlightened quality that as our pure nature or primordial nature, which is within ourselves, so we don't have to look outside anywhere else, but still as a condition where one need to follow a qualified master and then receive all this teaching, instruction, and then according to that, which become a path of method through which one can, purify and then experience that true nature. So just finding out the, just a perfect master with the receiving the perfect teaching, and then it is completely depend upon one's own self, whether, one could engage into the practice or not. And without that doing the practice, then not necessarily one could have that result. So that's why it is important to have some sense of belief and faith to the master, and then all this teaching, just understanding these are just authentic teachings, and then according to that, if one follow, then there is the benefit. Otherwise, if one think it is like a story or some sort of just only kind of expression, then one will not get any benefit. So all these Vajrayana or the Dzogchen teachings that which has been taught by Guru Padmasambhava more than 1,000 years before, and then according to that, in the past there are whole bunch of practitioners who just followed exactly according to the instruction, and there are just countless of them who obtain all those realization, and then obtain the Vidyadhara stage and so forth, having that realization. So here we also just in a way just have to follow in that way. Otherwise, just only kind of like receiving and then not really following it properly and not engaging in practice, and just only kind of like only hearing the words, then not necessarily one can get a benefit. So here, just having this established the 1 month retreat, and then been invited all the dedicated students here, and then where we go through all these teachings and instruction is mainly focus on that how we can achieve the ultimate happiness, such as enlightenment and the liberation. That is the whole complete purpose. Other than that, we don't have any other options. So that all these teaching instructions try to understand properly and contemplate, and then engage into practice. Don't think that these are just only a kind of expression or like, kind of deceiving and, something like a, kind of fairy tale story, not to think in that way, and then try to have that sense of faith, devotion, and then according to that one try to follow and engage into the practice.
Khenpo Tsewang Gyatso Rinpoche
So then all the rest of teachings will continue with the campus. So I'm not feeling just kind of physically not so.
Oh yeah, Nyingma Tatashi, Kemana Kachi Song Nyans Yapole, Rons of the Jill La Pemachi, Mandron, Yigin to Yigin to Tenere, Heman, Rons of the Chief sent on the land, Chinas languages. Oh yeah. Did he shit? Then
So then all the teachings will be carried out.
Oh yeah. Sonam de don't you the pioneer, don't you? Oh yeah.